So like the nutrient management plan and the soil testing and things like that, we don't have a land and water at the city. So we need to rely on you guys to do that. Other than that, it mirrors your lease almost to the T, except for the termination clause. And as we discussed at the last meeting, the termination clause needs to be more flexible for the city and for the county because of the fact that that land is intended to more immediately be sold and developed, right? Because it's in the Baroka Business Park. So those are really the facets of the lease, and I think it's as simple as it can be. I know you just mentioned talking about a 5-year lease. We approved ours at a 4-year lease because it was what was in your current lease. But I would say that the city, and I don't usually speak for the city, but all of our other leases are for 5 years, all of our other ag land leases. So that wouldn't be a big jump for them. I would say go ahead and send our lease out for 5 years. And then before we sign the bid, we'll just go to the council and say, hey, they changed it from 4 to 5. I didn't think it was a major change. You guys already go for 5 years. I don't want to have the process held up because we have to go back to council for that type of change. Start with the bid process and we'll approve that when we go to sign the lease, right? So that's in a nutshell.
Any questions for Nate? Thank you I like when we figure out ways to partner. Yeah. And it was good conversation.
Yeah, the council was super excited. They appreciated the opportunity to collaborate on this, and I think there's a lot of joint benefits, and they saw a lot of joint benefits from working on this with the county. And so I'll stick around, and if there's any questions you have about changes you would make and how that would affect the city side of things, because again, we're just trying to mirror what you folks are doing on your lease. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, we're on board with any other changes except for that termination, because we have to be able to exit a lease if we need to sell within 3 months, 4 months. So thanks for the opportunity, but
thank you.
I'll be back here if you guys have any questions.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Okay, so lease term.
5 years.
5 years. Are you making a motion?
That's a second.
Any more discussion on that? All in favor of changing the lease term from 4 to 5 years, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, that's the fastest thing we've done on this lease.
Yeah.
Are you able to just finish those changes, or you want me to do that? I don't know.
I can make a simple change like that to a Word document.
Are we at a place to approve this lease as it is with the said change?
Why wouldn't we be? That's a motion.
That's a motion.
Okay. Motion.
Could I get a second to approve this lease?
Mary, I'll do it. Unless Mary wants to.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Any more discussion on the Vernon County East and West Farms lease agreement? All in favor of approving lease with the change of term, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Would the motion be to approve the lease and get it out for RFP, get it out?
Yes. Yes, that would be. Thank you.
Presumably as
Sure.
quickly as possible.
As a farmer, I would never sign a lease where you can do a 30-day out.
What am I saying? Send out an RFP?
Never.
Yes. Yes.
Too much input.
Approve and go to RFP.
Hey,
Right,
that's
bring it to the
the
same thing. We just
Correct.
approved it.
3
we had-
yay, 1 nay.
30-day out.
There's a 30-day out.
Yeah. Terminate.
Okay. Thank you. Nancy.
All right. Planning committee?
Creation of County Planning Committee is up next.
Page 8. So, as you know, the board approved the funding to move forward with the comprehensive plan. In order to begin to hold public hearings, get public input on the plan itself, we need to create a planning committee. So Lauren and I have had several discussions about what that would look like. I looked at some comparisons from other counties. I've been in discussions with Matt from zoning. Where we ultimately landed was that it would be composed of 5 members, 3 of which would be county board members, 2 of which would be community members. Like the term would be 2 years. They would be the primary facilitators for any of the public hearings, the drafting of the comprehensive plan, which ultimately goes to county board for approval. That's phase 1. Phase 2 of this committee would then, once that comprehensive plan is hopefully approved, we would move forward with drafting the comprehensive zoning ordinance. I would anticipate that that may be a little bit more contentious than the comprehensive plan itself. It'll probably take a lot more, stakeholder meetings with the municipalities. And we'd want as much public input and representation from especially our townships when we're drafting a comprehensive zoning ordinance than we would, with an overall comprehensive plan. So that's the idea of the 2 phases with this committee is what we'd be looking at over the course of the next really probably 3 years. Did I miss anything?
And we are supposed to have a comprehensive plan on file, but Vernon County does not.
Correct.
Is correct?
It's
Correct.
required by law.
Yeah.
Well, we
Have
voted.
we ever had one on file?
No.
They did a lot of work ages ago on it.
And then it just never,
Yeah.
it just never got there.
Before it was, and it got dropped.
Yeah, my understanding is that it was presented to the board and they voted it down. So we're working with Mississippi. Is that not correct?
So that's correct, but
Okay.
you have to understand, it's not a very popular idea in this county to do that.
I understand, but it's also something that's
But
required.
it's by law. How do we
Or
get?
what?
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
that's where we.
Well, I mean, we've been here 10 years without it.
yeah.
Well, I don't really think that's like the way you do it, like knowingly not
I just wanted to
adhere
point
to
out
the law.
That you're gonna find there's a lot of county residents that are not in favor of you continuing down this path.
So we're working with Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission on,
Okay, but to your point, Jerry, I'm sorry, we can't knowingly be breaking the law.
What do you have for 10 years? If that is
it's longer than that.
I
15.
think didn't they vote it down more than once here?
No. But
Okay, just
2010
think
letter.
about what you're saying though, in
Wasn't it
other
before then?
laws. We've gotten away with it for 10 years.
Well-
So keep abusing your wife. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Well, this is, I would say comprehensive planning would be different than spousal abuse, but,
Fair point.
but, it is,
I hope so.
I know, but it is also like, what is the, or what? It's do it or else. What's the or else? There is no or else. That's what I'm trying to say. Beating your wife up, there isn't or else.
Okay, I was a bad example. I'm just saying.
Okay,
like,
robbing a
But
bank,
what
killing someone.
I think though, as leaders of local government, if it's a law we're supposed to adhere to, we should at least be going down the path to getting in line. And if it hasn't been there for many years, then maybe the appetite for it is different. I don't know. Or maybe what was presented before wasn't meeting the needs. Do we just not do it? That doesn't seem right either.
Well, it doesn't seem right also to just do it because we're told we have to do it also.
Amen.
So can I talk?
Yes.
Can I speak to that? So there are a lot of things that when you do get this public participation and you get the feedback from the residents and you've identified goals, you have in your packet there the list of the 9 elements. When you really draft those out and you include them in your comprehensive plan, it makes you, it can make you eligible for a lot more grant opportunities to have those identified as a priority for the county. It helps as a guiding document. The infrastructure committee has already identified for Matt to move forward with the comprehensive zoning plan, which then we came back and said, well, the guiding document for the comprehensive zoning ordinance is a comprehensive plan and we do not have one on file. And so this is a first step. It'll help identify what the goals are for a comprehensive zoning ordinance. Like I said, I think that piece of it is probably going to be a bigger fight than the comprehensive plan itself.
Right.
I don't think the comprehensive plan is going to be that big of a deal, but countywide zoning is going to be
Yes.
pulling hen's teeth.
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to
Well, I mean,
But will be ignorance and necessary education and messaging.
as a town board representative, I've been on it 23 years, you guys been longer, but I'm seeing potentially we need some kind of zoning. There's crap going on out there we can't control.
It's not all bad.
With kids, but we can
How
get
is there
their
going to be, it happened down Stoddard, Township of Virgin. We don't want zoning, we don't want zoning, we don't want zoning. And then a particular individual bought a tire shop and was going to put in an adult entertainment center down there.
Oh.
And then they're like, give us zoning, give us zoning, give us zoning.
Oh.
It's too late.
Too late, yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't give it an alcohol license, and that kind of put the kibosh to the whole thing. But, that was that's everybody, no one wants zoning until someone wants to do something right next door.
Next door.
But Virgin could have done their own zoning.
They could
Okay,
have done their own zoning, yeah.
You've done your own.
Mary Henry, I see your hand up. Go
You
ahead.
could do your own.
We did.
Part of, I understand and I hear the concerns that are going on right now, but as a board, you want a comprehensive plan to guide what you do and why we do what we do. I know it's not popular. It's a hard process to go through, but we've identified almost all 6 years that I've been on that we would like to do priority-based budgeting. Well, we have nothing in a guiding document that says we need to do that. This is the steps to help us as a board to work towards our goals and hopefully get some strategies to move us in a direction that's more coherent. Zoning's going to be contentious, we know that, but we're one of the few left in the state of the counties, 72, that does not have a plan. The main reason for a plan is for your urban sprawl, to protect our farmlands, but also to protect housing for our workforce, that it isn't all used up in short-term rentals, neighborhoods, and whatever it could be. And we already are in that crunch of housing issues. And part of that is short-term rentals. But you don't want to lose all your farm acreage either. So, and I get it. I'm on both sides of it. I understand it, and I understand why we need it. It is a tough process, but I don't think we should not do it because we get away with it. I feel like we should we are the role models. And we don't avoid something hard because it gets voted down. Then let's talk about what is a compromise. Thank you.
Thank you. Oli?
The work that was done years ago, is that gonna be considered, or is it just outdated, or just redo the whole thing, or what's the?
I think we're pretty much starting from scratch here.
Oh,
Because they have a process that they follow as far as like the public participation, and that's what they use to draft their. I've been through the process with them twice, and it's pretty seamless.
Well, public participation is toward the end. I mean, you got a lot of other.
Well, it's in different stages and in different, you allow for different opportunities too. There's online surveys, there's in-person meetings, there's a variety of things that work to draft the document. And it goes in stages.
So what's the time, what does the timeline look like?
Yeah, the comprehensive plan will take us about a year.
Okay.
Yep. And so once that's done, then we can move forward with getting the steps moving for a comprehensive zoning ordinance.
So this won't really come to the board for at least a year.
The comprehensive plan.
Yeah, I mean, like completion of it.
Right.
Do you
That's
have
good.
anything you want to add?
Well, I think as we discussed, we're going to need 3, hopefully volunteers from the county board to sit on this committee. I know they're all overworked and underpaid and just dying to be on another meeting.
What's the commitment?
So,
Monthly.
for 2 years.
Hmm.
I guess that'd be kind of up to the committee, how often they want to meet and stuff. I know when we went through our zoning in Harmony, it was every other Friday night for a year. But we got a lot of arguing going.
Well, it seems like that makeup should have someone from infrastructure who, right? I mean, the zoning falls under infrastructure.
Well,
Currently,
we kind of got, haven't told me, oh, Matt knows, I suppose. But,
Matt, yeah, Matt.
And Ben, being you're going to be on an advisory committee there also on the egg part of it. I've got 2 citizen volunteers actually. And so we're looking for, 3 board members.
That's a challenge that I'd love to take.
Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate your service.
I would like to be on it.
I got a couple boy and a city girl, so we're getting close.
I would like to say, yesterday I attended the state land and water, and they worked on their 5-year comprehensive plan. And what they did, the process for that was they took a nice chunk of time this last summer and met to pound it out instead of spreading it out. They worked as a group, almost like a retreat, to get the bones of it together and concentrated on that. I think when you keep spreading it out, you lose momentum, in my opinion. And it passed yesterday. So it wasn't a year-long process. It started this summer and it passed yesterday. So I would say a half a year. But it depends how you want to frame it up and how you want to proceed with it. But I think more condensed time devoted to it versus spreading it out weekly, in my opinion, is more efficient.
Thank you. Mary Meehan Stroop, then Ole.
From what I understand, we've already approved the funding for this with MRPC.
Yep.
So whether we do it or not, we've got funds appropriated to go through the process. Today, it's our task of approving the creation of the committee and then of the approving the public participation plan.
Mm-hmm.
They've already laid that out in the document. I don't know that it's ours to determine who's who or who's on that committee today.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
The volunteers, I'd like to make an announcement at the board meeting that we're looking for people, and then we could sit down. I'd like to sit down with Matt. Matt has said he'd like to have input in who is on that committee, just to make sure we have representation from the whole county. So yeah, today is not for who is going to be on the committee, it's the creation of the committee itself.
And so therefore, I think we should stick to approving the plan and the creation of the committee as such versus trying to determine whether Vernon County should have or not have
That'll come later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I misunderstood what creation meant. I thought creation included appointing people to it. So,
well, maybe my interpretation is incorrect. I don't know. I
think, yeah, because she wants to bring it to the full board, which makes sense.
So this is going to be a resolution to the board, create a committee, and then Lauren would appoint.
Yes, and then I think you should also put a request out for citizen members as well, because maybe there'll be no more, and we'll be thankful for the 2 we have, but there may be others out there that are interested.
Is it up to the chair or is it up to the committee? And it doesn't make any difference how many members and the makeup of the committee.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
That's up to the board.
Yeah. So it'll come the recommendation from the committee to go to the full board. So if you feel like that what's been laid out there, you want more people on it, that's really what.
Don't make it unmanageable.
That's my concern. I had told Lauren before, I said I don't know if we want more than 7. And we landed on 5. So.
7 works too. That way you'll have 5 at the meetings.
Okay.
The only concern I had is, we have an election coming up in April. So you don't want, you probably don't have any competition.
I don't know.
So,
I'm going to run against it.
Now, we have to get reelected if we're going to be on these committees.
yes.
Good point.
What would be to for resolution to create this committee? It's a motion we're looking for.
Motion.
If you're thinking about making it 7 instead of 5, this would be the time to do that.
Okay, motion to proceed with 7.
So would you be adjusting the county board supervisors or adjusting community members? Like, it could be like up to 7.
I mean, it's 3 county board, 2 citizens.
Oh, the zoning committee I have is 5.
Who's the other 2?
The other 2 are advisory. There's 3 county board members and 2 citizens.
And advisors are the,
Well, they don't.
Well, they're not, they're just on it. They're not part of the,
They don't vote.
so the question is, if you're increasing it to 7,
Yes.
what bucket of what 7? What are you increasing? You want more board members? You want more community members?
Well, yeah, let's back up a little bit. I said my township zoning committee is 5.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the administrator. It's probably more effective getting this process started with 5, perhaps.
yeah.
I would say from all the planning committees I've been on, that is a small amount. You want people buying into that, and you are leaving out a lot of your public voice, in my opinion. It is never that small.
Public can be very,
Yes.
Okay, so but
buy
if we adjust at all, what I would say is keep 3 county board supervisors and up to 4 community members, like between 2 and 4. So if you got up to 4, you could implement them, but you're not bound to get 4 because you might not get that.
And you could put in there preferably east, west, north, and south.
Like, yeah, like we're looking for representation, countywide representation.
Country.
All right. Let's go with 7 then.
How does that, well, or up to, like, I don't want to get locked in that we have to be at 7, because what if we don't get that many people? Is that doable? Can we say that?
I think we can find 4 people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure you will.
There's 30,000 people in this county.
Fair point.
So we've kind of set on 7.
Yes.
Did we set on, it's going to stay 3 board members? So you would have a committee of citizens out voting your county board members? Is that something you want to have?
That's like,
Ultimately, the county board gets the final vote. They make a recommendation to the board.
So you're okay with 3 and 4? Yeah, 4 citizens, 3 county board members.
Well, I am, but I don't know that
I
everybody
just wanna
else
write it
is.
down, so.
I want to approve creating a committee first.
Well, that's
That's
where,
what we're doing.
this is the size of the committee.
No, you're doing a creation of a county planning committee, not determining who's on it. And then you're going to approve the public participation plan, which is on here.
To figure out the size of the committee.
This resolution has to go to your county
We
board.
have to,
It has to say
that's
what
exactly what we're doing.
it is. you
We're
want.
not assigning people to it. We're trying to figure out
Okay.
the size. So
All
we
right.
can approve
So
it
no, I'm not happy with 4 over 3.
fully.
I kind of agree. I mean,
3 and 3.
4 county board members and 3 citizens.
4, are you happy with that?
We have 4 county board supervisors.
yeah, that, who's gonna get 4? Oh, gee.
Not to throw a wrench in it, but what's the terms?
2 years.
Like
Whatever
it's 2
project
years.
is done, how long it takes. You say 1 year, but I bet you won't be.
Is this forming a county planning committee just to get through the process of comprehensive plan, and then a full county planning committee may be established or approved after that? Or is this, are you saying that if we form this planning committee, you're going to give them the unending term, whatever it's going to be, as a full county committee, whether it's standing or elected or whatever it's going to be down the road?
My understanding is the full county committee, first phase of
If
it
you
will be
move
the
forward with-
planning part.
Yeah.
And then whatever if the board approves it, then this committee helps. Am I wrong about that? This committee helps hold it.
Oh, you're right. If we move forward with a comprehensive zoning ordinance,
The zoning
that gets
committee
approved,
would-
that committee would then consider any reasons, any conditional use permits, those types of things would come to that committee.
So it would be a permanent standing.
Anytime you want to amend the zoning ordinances, you know, do a rewrite or whatever, that would all go through that committee. So it would be a permanent.
That's why I would think we'd want more county board members than citizens.
A committee member gets on, somebody gets on there as opposed zoning, they would pain in.
Well, Lauren appoints.
Okay, wait, hang on. There are other county board committees that have more citizens on it than county board supervisors. Isn't economic development one of them?
It's like a 5 and I don't know how many. That's gotta be pretty even. 5 and maybe 5 and 4. Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Pretty even. Our opioid steering committee only has 2 board members and like 5 community members.
Health and Human
Ultimately, the
Services.
board makes a decision on it. If the
Not
committee
even.
says, you know, I think we ought to go ahead with this conditional use, and the board makes the decision. If you're advisory, if the advisory board is not a. That's, I'm raising a budget, so I feel.
3 and 3. People are really, I don't know why we're concerned about being outnumbered by the constituents that we actually represent, but if that's a concern, 3 and 3.
You'll find that will work very well for flag selection.
That's true.
It's like the tiebreaker.
Committees.
Yeah, better go 7, 4 and 3.
What do you,
Okay, so is it gonna be more board or more citizen? That's all you need to know. You gotta decide that.
4 county board members and 3 citizens.
When I see Economic Development Committee in here as an appointed committee, there's 5 county board supervisors on it.
yeah, all committees have 5.
No, we're in a minute, that's 3,
Oh,
3 and 2.
oh, was 5 just the max?
We're just trying to think of the first step.
Okay, so we're gonna say 4 county board members and 3 community members. Is this what I'm hearing?
Sure. Let's just start.
And then everything else on this Vernon County Planning Committee, are there other things that need to change?
Example.
Well, I don't know, I'm just reading this. I think it looks fine. So I think I have a motion from Dave
Yeah.
to change the size of the committee from 4 county board members to 3 community members. I still think it's a good idea when we broadcast this that we try to get community members from different areas of the county. Can I get a second for size of committee change?
And it's 2-year term.
2-year term.
I'll second it. Okay, all in favor of Dave's change, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I don't know. We don't have enough.
Yeah, that sounds like all 8 of me. So then you have a,
They didn't say anything.
yeah, they did.
No.
I heard him. You're not close enough. So now you need to approve your thing as amended.
Wait a minute. You're not doing that.
You better
So,
back up.
Oli and Mary, what are you not liking the size of committee change? 4 to 3.
I guess my mind's going beyond planning committee. I was looking at this when I originally looked at it as the planning committee for this, bringing the plan to the county board for approval. I was not looking at this as a long-term plan for structure of county board. I would need, of the committee structure for county board. So I'm not comfortable making that decision without looking more into, are there other avenues or ways to adjust committees in the long term? So that's where I'm coming from.
I do not understand what you just said. I'm sorry. I don't.
I would
Right,
expect that. And from
I don't want that.
Wait, that wasn't good either.
It's not nice either.
well, I didn't mean it to not be nice, but I just would expect that because I'm just of what I said. The bottom line is I'm not willing to vote on this being a change in structure for what our county committee structure is going to be. And that's what it sounds like it's going to be because it becomes the long-term committee.
So how is it a change?
Because right now, there is no county planning committee that's listed that I'm seeing.
That's what we're bringing to the floor to add it.
And I, as I said, when I came here, thought this was a planning committee structure for the comprehensive plan process, not the changing the county committee
For a long
structure
term.
long term.
Okay.
So you're wanting to have a, or you're thinking we have a committee to get it implemented and then,
Yes.
okay.
So do you want to make that change to this, that this is the forming of the comprehensive, I don't know what you'd call it, but I hear what you're saying, like this is the county, this is to bring a comprehensive plan to the county board floor. And if it then is approved at the county board floor, whatever that county board is, whoever is in the chairperson's role, then at that time we create, if it's approved, like if the comprehensive plan would be approved at that time, that would be the appropriate time
Yes.
to form a committee for the long-term execution
So
of
phase
it.
two.
Phase two,
Right.
basically.
And then ultimately at that point
Okay.
in time,
Reckon now.
and then ultimately at that point in time, maybe, I'm assuming it will be after, unless it goes as fast as Mary Henry's committee she talked about went. You will have a new county board structure,
Mhm.
and you also may have a change in some of your committee type structure as well, in terms of either combinations, additions, deletions, whatever, but
Okay, so what I hear you saying, if I'm right, is it's the size of committee that Dave
that doesn't bother me.
proposed. That's not the hangup. It's really what I hear you saying is let's take phase two out of this and what we're going to send to county board from this committee, I'm just trying to recap, is that we're okay with this in phase one. Phase two will come later if the comprehensive plan gets approved. Lauren.
In phase two, we do have a zoning committee, you know, within infrastructure, we do have a zoning committee
Yeah.
that could serve that purpose.
Okay,
Yes.
is that,
We don't have one now.
We do, yeah. It's in with infrastructure. Zoning.
Mary,
Oh.
is that hit what you were
Yes,
saying?
yes.
Okay.
yes.
That's a motion then.
So I
No,
have,
make it a motion. I'm like waiting for input from other people.
well, that tracks with me. I understand what you're saying. That makes sense. We're creating a committee before we even have a plan.
We're helping each other make sense.
No, it makes-
Share on a short-term basis.
Yes.
Like,
And it makes sense to reevaluate it after the
Because
comprehensive.
At that
plan
time, it's a
process.
zoning committee,
Mhm.
right?
Or
Not
whatever it is,
Or whatever.
however it shakes out to be.
leaning that
Okay,
direction.
that,
Right. And then if we're looking at the structure of our committees as a whole and we want to move, zoning over and create this, planning and zoning committee, commission, whatever, we can do it then.
okay, could I get an amendment to Dave's, well, no one voted on it, so just a new motion, did that just die then?
Okay,
So a new motion could be that we are changing the size of the committee to be composed of 4 county board supervisors and 3 community members with the hope that we get countywide representation from our community members. And we would like to remove phase 2 of this planning committee's responsibilities so that we just are attacking the creation of the comprehensive plan. Yes?
I would make that motion, but I would also say with up to 7 members. Based on what you had said, and then the makeup was fine, and then deleting that phase 2. As you said.
I'll second.
Do you want to range there instead of up to 7? There's lack of clarity that could make it
5 to 7,
acted upon not consistent with your intentions.
no less than 5, no more than 7.
I think we just go with the 4 and the 3, and if we have trouble filling the citizens, we reevaluate.
Vice versa.
Well, I mean, at some point, whoever the chair is can appoint somebody if they had to. I think you'll get people. You had 2 people sitting at this table of 4 supervisors.
So delete the up
5 with Mary. I mean, we already got 2
Change
of
it
the
to
4,
7.
and it hasn't even gone to the board
I
yet.
know at least at the town level, if it helps the committee feel like they're thinking the right direction here. Populations, like if a town is, I want to say, don't hold me to this, 2,500 or more, they have to have 7 members on their plan commissions for their plans instead of 5. I don't believe that the county is governed by any such analogous rule, but that might be informative and supportive of your leaning towards 7 here.
But is that also true for when you're forming a committee to develop the plan versus the long
I
term?
totally hear your points
Yeah.
there
Mhm.
and valid points you're making.
Okay, are we there?
It is, to answer your question, I believe, Mary, but
Fully?
I think so.
Mary?
And I want to stand firm, or to be sure I'm accurate here, it's 4 county board supervisors and 3 community members.
Correct.
Yes, then we're clear.
Dave?
Good.
Lauren, anything else? No, you're good. Okay,
You were okay with removing the up to 7?
Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said.
okay. So we have a motion
To amend.
to amend size of committee and taking phase 2 out of this.
Wait a minute, I'm not amended.
Well, his original, we're adding to it. The
It
phase
failed.
out. Okay, sorry, no amend. Just a new
But we're changing this.
amending this
What's the-
document.
The motion can just say creation of the committee to.
However you want the
Or
motion.
Yeah, that's what I said is to approve this plan
Yeah.
with the change of 7, 4, and 3, and then deleting phase 2.
Okay. That is
I
the
thought
motion.
that's what you approved, or you seconded, but
That is the motion. I should have said
Yeah.
amend.
Okay.
That is the motion made by Mary, second by Ole. Okay, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Good job.
Do you see
Thanks
this?
for
Done,
walking
then
me
we
through.
have to
I
vote again, right?
don't think so.
All right.
Thank you, Mary, for
Yes.
being patient with
Sorry.
me catching up.
You can make those relevant edits to the resolution I sent you. Okay.
Okay, so then next is the approval of the public participation plan for the Vernon County Comprehensive Plan 2023. We have that in our packet.
This is required as part of the comprehensive plan process that we actually formally adopt our public participation plan.
And this is already our public participation plan, right?
Draft.
It's a draft.
Just
We
a
haven't
draft.
formally adopted it. We have to formally adopt it to move forward with,
What is our current public participation?
well, this is specific to the comprehensive plan. Yes.
So why does it say update of the Vernon County Comprehensive Plan?
Because they started work with
Oh,
them
that's right.
like
Thank you.
however many years ago.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was.
It threw me through a loop to it. first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we really going to update that, or are we going to?
Well,
Create it.
you can start all over, so it's not an update. If you're not gonna use the previous information,
We could certainly, and I went back and forth on update or creation of, knowing that we didn't have one on file. So update was what Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission had presented to me. When I had originally put it on the agenda, I had it as creation instead of update, but however,
but they're not gonna look at the old one.
believe so. No,
So it's not an update.
it's not. I know what you're
He
saying.
did ask for a copy of our old one if it could.
Yeah.
I don't know if we found one or not.
I got one.
Dave has one.
Okay, so we're on the title.
We are.
One step
And,
at one.
yeah, that's fair. We have interviews starting at 10:30, 10 o'clock.
We were going to start with Nikki.
Okay,
And then the
so-
11.
Let's,
Creation, you prefer creation? What do you have, creation?
when I read this in general, it seemed pretty clear and good guidelines, but I hesitate with this committee.
Update makes it sound like we've been swinging for the fences before.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fine.
let's
So
call it
change that creation.
Got it.
I kind of lean that direction.
All right, I'm just wondering, is there anything else before we make a motion to change creation of this document?
I think you should, you would need a
Actually,
motion for
change
that.
creation.
You don't need a motion. I mean, your consensus building this
We're
document.
just building it. Okay,
When we get done, we'll have a motion to adopt.
to adopt it. Okay, is there any other changes needed on this document?
Is this somewhat boilerplate from
It is.
Mississippi
It is.
Regional?
Yes.
This is what
the
they
process
use.
we will follow.
And this is what
Through
they
the
use for all of their
comprehensive
comprehensive plans.
Yeah.
We haven't created this. This has been
Yes.
vetted by the people who we are hiring to do it. So actually,
Yes.
with the exception of it's not an update, it's actually creating. I'm not sure there's a whole lot for us to change. This is what they use.
Correct.
So could I
I
think, go ahead.
have a motion to accept his plan. Proceed with his plan.
Approve resolution.
The change of creation in the
Change
title.
up, take update.
All in favor, Dave second, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent.
No,
All right. I am going to breeze through my report so we can stay on time here, and I think we'll be just fine. Oh, this was from December
Is it in the
6th.
folder?
I didn't get to, is not in the folder. I can send it to you though. I was going to give you my paper copy, but it just went missing.
David has it.
I just want to commend the HR department for all their work during open enrollment. It was quite a process and a lot of manual input. So we're really hoping with the new HRIS system in place, hopefully next year during that process, that it will go a lot more smoothly than it did this year. The RFP for the feasibility study for Vernon Manor and Vernon Acres was approved by the Board of Trustees last Friday. Just waiting on Nikki to take a look at some of the legal language there before we release it. I'm working with UW Extension on leadership training for the department heads. We've identified 3 key areas, some basic HR training, training on how to interact with elected officials and how to handle themselves during committee and board meetings. And then the third being chain of command, so like who to go to for what. We're also working with UW Extension to develop onboarding for elected officials and continuing education for those that stay on in the spring. We'll focus on parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order, county government structure, and then tune in more specifically to how things run here in Vernon County. Introductions to different departments, the budget process, their roles versus staff roles, those sorts of things. The infrastructure committee will not be moving forward with the MOUs that were being offered regarding the use of the landfill. There were concerns regarding enforcement of the county's flow control ordinance in light of the fact that the county does not have a resource recovery facility as identified under state law. And then we're working with the Sheriff's Department and Tricia on updating our policies and procedures in light of Act 82. Act 82 was actually passed almost 2 years ago. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the law, but it basically, if you hire a law enforcement official, their records from their previous employment are open. And so it basically got rid of all of these like separation agreements where, yeah, we're going to keep everything quiet if you just move on. That is no more. So we're looking to make sure that we have those files digitized to begin with, because they are not. we're updating our waiver that prospective, I can't talk today, candidate signed for the release of the information. And then setting up new procedures for responding to records requests that we receive to make sure that if we are responding to a request for someone's employment file, that waiver that that person had signed is encompassing basically signing off on our liability for it as well. And then finally, this is not here, but we are moving forward with that employee assistance program through Gunderson. And we're going to do some department head training on Tuesday. She was able to do that. It's going to offer resources for our employees as individuals and their families. They also offer a significant amount of supervisory training and act as a resource for if people are having issues within their own departments. And then we also she was going to send it to us somewhere around like 6 to 10 free hours of training per year for our staff is involved in that as well. So it's really like we had our first introductory meeting with her yesterday, and I really think it's going to be a great resource for our
We use
employees.
it, and it's very helpful.
So next week, there was going to be training?
Tuesday, we're doing it during department head meeting. So we were going to talk about other things, but then she made herself available. And I think due to the timing of the implementation, that's what we're going to focus on Tuesday for department heads. So
I have a question about the MOU situation because I'm being asked, and I can't find in any infrastructure meeting approval that it was approved to proceed with MOUs and then not approved. There's like no action. So how is that? What happened there?
So just, I can't speak to what happened in the beginning because I was not here. So I would ask
Wasn't
Megan
in
or
the
Lauren to
committee
comment.
meetings, and most of them, what I know from those that I attended was that there was no approval of those final MOUs. They were presented, and the last I knew, which was sometime this summer just before Cassie, was that the MOU was presented to the committee, and the committee approved the department going out and soliciting interest. And then if any muni was interested, the MOU was to be brought back to the committee for final approval. So a partial approval for solicitation.
It's definitely not clear. And this idea that, the committee knew it was happening, Lauren, yes? It's not, it was directed by the committee. So, but why was there no vote to just make it? Because there's a narrative out there that like,
I don't think it's accurate.
Somebody went rogue, and the committee knew it was happening.
The committee gave Stacy, here's what I recall, Lauren, there was one meeting in the summer, I want to say June, but don't hold me to that. Tell me if you remember this, where I believe you and I were there and we discussed the MOU. And the committee then directed the department to go talk with the munis, see their interest, even get their signatures to then bring back to your committee for final approval of any MOUs.
I don't remember the final approval of the MOU was put out. Can you speak to that at all?
I can remember when Stacy brought the MOU. The committee,
Mark Hughes.
I don't want to say
Or so by Alan.
but they definitely gave permission for Stacy to go ahead. Send the MOU.
So then where is the vote? Because this is, I'm
There was no
asking
vote.
because people are asking me, and there's like a mark in time where this MOU was approved from the committee to go forward and get. And then there's like a mark in time where they were told not to do it anymore, but there's no vote on that. And in between there, the county board voted on an expansion based on MOUs that then were taken away. And I don't really have an opinion either way, but I don't know how to answer it when people are asking me, where's the vote on this? I'm like, let me go look. And I couldn't find it.
I asked that in November.
So I do know that,
I was told to ask the county clerk.
I do know my involvement and my information is that it was a committee approval to solicit information, but a final approval of MOUs would be pending further presentation to the committee,
And then,
which has not to date transpired to my knowledge.
but they've been killed. Yes?
MOUs have been killed.
Well, maybe that's not the right term,
Well,
but have
too much of a
been,
term, yeah.
Most recently, that has been the action, is the decision to not continue to pursue completing any MOUs.
Okay.
The reason behind the MOU was to gauge how much volume we were going to have into the landfill. And after everybody signed them, it was kind of, they were, what are we going to do? Take your township to court? And that was kind of the feeling and part of the discussion, that they were basically unenforceable, and they had served their purpose, because now we kind of know what's coming in. It was.
Okay, Mary.
So I'm clear. The committee did or did not direct solid waste to have those MOUs drafted and distributed.
The committee, it was a committee decision, but whether the vote didn't get recorded, or maybe the vote was never taken, I don't know.
But the direction was from the committee.
And there's nothing,
From the committee.
and there's nothing in the minutes that reflects that.
Well, there's definitely conversation that reflects that, for sure. There's just not a
Okay.
vote. And then there's not a vote that explicitly says we're not accepting it. So the purpose of my question was just to gain context. And what I hear you saying is you felt the exercise illustrated the need with the MOUs. Like the exercise of getting MOUs fulfilled the need to gain understanding of what volume would be.
And what the committee had previously approved. I think it's fair to say that there was reasonable confusion, it appears, on what the committee approved there. Reasonable, because it was a confusing directive, arguably, insofar as the directive was to seek through an MOU interest.
That should have been clearly stated.
Correct.
That's what it is.
That's right, because then ultimately final approval was to go back to the committee if any of them were to be executed, right? And while that was certainly my understanding, and I think the most reasonable takeaway from that committee action, I think it's also absolutely fair that one walked away with a different understanding. Incorrectly, but understanding.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because going back to read, the notes are not, you can't track that in the notes as clearly, which is why I asked. Stacy, did you have something you wanted to offer? And then we're going to plow ahead with interviews.
Yes, in the meeting minutes for May 9th, under Memorandum of Understanding, it states that the county will seek to secure this MOU with all municipalities in the county and work cooperatively to make sure Vernon County waste.
Can you speak up, Stacy? You can't hear you.
Yeah, can you move closer to your speaker and then start over, please?
Okay, can you hear me better?
A little bit.
So on the minutes for the May 9th
Better.
meeting, there are, and let me know if you feel like I'm yelling at you, but in the minutes from the May 9th meeting, there is a section regarding the Memorandum of Understanding, and it states that, because I was given the directive and we were trying to determine how much volume the landfill would receive and if it would be enough for an expansion. The whole driving point of the MOU was to go out, seek municipal support for the landfill via their waste stream. So a way to secure that waste stream was to contract via the MOU with the municipalities for them to say, we're going to send our garbage to the landfill. And so I was asked to go out, get signatures, and then towards the end of these minutes, it says MOUs will be brought back to the infrastructure committee for final approval. So once I got signatures from all the municipalities I could, then they were all supposed to be coming back to the infrastructure committee for a final approval and county official signature.
Okay, thank you.
That was May 9th meeting?
May 9th, yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you all. The only way I knew how to really address it was to do it in a public meeting, because having more triangles about it would not be helpful. So for me, this gives good context of what transpired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacy. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Any other questions for Cassie? All right. We will move to item 5, closed session. The chair may entertain a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Could I get a motion to go into closed session? Dave, can I get a second?
Second.
Foley, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we will go into closed session to do interviews for legal services of Borough Council.
Do you want me to step out for a bit and then just invite me in when you would like?
Sure.
Why can't I open these rooms?
Yes?
What's up?
I do.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not, she's around the corner. If she's here, I don't know if she's here or not.
I'm sorry. I was arguing. She told me to ask to come to her.
Sounds like it's productive.
So I went down and asked him, but he didn't know.
No, it wasn't me.
No,
That you were
it was-
speaking to. Yes.
Just
And my apologies on my response, but when you said that, I thought, oh, I can understand why she couldn't understand that.
Okay, are we back online?
We're back on.
Okay.
Yep, we're good to go.
Mary, could I get a motion for what was discussed in closed session?
Motion to present to the county board Act Swain for Vernon County Corporation Council with the understanding that Nikki Swain is the primary corporation counsel for Vernon County. Needs and the understanding that Vernon County, through the administrative coordinator, may seek outside counsel as needed. There's too many Vernon counties in there, but it can be cleaned.
I'll second that.
Oh, second. All in favor signify by aye. Aye.
Right.
All opposed?
Right?
So will you draft that?
Yeah, I'll work with Jerry to get that.
Or is that a resolution? Resolution to the board for. Okay, so confirmation of our next meeting. Sorry, number 7, agenda items for future meetings. I think we have PTO coming back.
425 policy.
Other than that, we'll see what.
Well, I have something that I think we need to talk about, and I would assume it starts here, but I'm not sure, is the structure of our committees. When we restructured, we said we would try it and see how it goes. And general government, Allison, you have done a fabulous job, so I don't want you to think, but general government so many times gets divided into 2 meetings, and they are extremely long, that I think it becomes inefficient. And somehow I think some of these committees need to be pulled out and self-standing so they can hash it out at their committee level and then come to either an executive council or general government. But I feel that too much is trying to be handled, and it should be hashed out at another level before it comes and then goes to the board. Because for people that are waiting on the agenda or whatever, like this Nikki thing, for an example, this has been on the agenda for probably 5 months. And so many times it got
That's not true, but that part's not true. The steps leading up to today is true. I absolutely hear you. There has been conversation with Lauren and Cassie about like, how do we restructure what's worked in this new model? I do think some of that comes a little bit with a new election cycle, but we could certainly maybe in February meeting
Suggest February.
come up with at least and give everybody a chance, all supervisors, and maybe I can ask about this at the county board, like some feedback on how the committee structure is working.
Like me and you discussed about, personnel sometimes takes so long.
It should just have its own thing.
It have its own thing, but then the other part of the meeting is so short that it wouldn't hardly pay to have.
Right.
So
There's been conversation like, should some areas, like should infrastructure take out? So I just think there's opportunity. We did a good job at trying. What I don't think we're still a consolidated committee structure. We're not going to go to standalone committees, but there might be some opportunity to
pick and choose,
shuffle the deck a little bit. So Mary, I hear you. Maybe the February meeting would give us time in January for you to get some department head feedback and just kind of talk about it. Dave?
Jill has made some changes in human services
Mm-hmm.
that has taken our meetings from averaging 3 hours to an hour.
Yep.
So it can be done.
Really?
IT could have it based on.
Well, or it could fall under infrastructure.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because then when you have election time, and then in April, that first meeting, you are appointing and electing committees. So it's got to be talked about and thought about so that.
But the committee structures got presented at the April meeting. Like it wasn't changed it was presented and changed at the April meeting as appointments happened. So I agree with you. Let's start talking about, we can put it on Gen Gov's February meeting to just see where the brainstorm has landed so that the chairperson now and whoever the future has some good crossover on what that looks like.
And that's something Jerry and I have already been talking about. We already started addressing that document that outlines it. We're also looking at the board rules. The counties association has 2 webinars this month to talk about board rules. And they said, these next few months now are the best time to look at them before you have an election. So it's all in place and ready to go. Because you don't, say you get 6 new board members on county board come this spring and they haven't been through it before and they're setting these new rules. It really just makes sense to do it now, was their advice.
Headlights.
So Mary, does that address it? We'll put it on the February meeting.
Yes, and it made me think about it when I saw those 2 webinars. And I'm like, oh, we've got to look at this before it changes and with the people that have worked with it to understand it and what has worked and what hasn't worked.
Let me chair every meeting.
That would be an interesting experience. Okay, a month of Dave chairing. I kind of want to see it, actually. All right, anything else for future meeting that we can think of? I mean, it tends to fill itself. Confirm next meeting, July 3rd, 9:30.
January.
January.
July. Yeah.
Would anyone be opposed to moving it to that next week, same day and time?
Is there any conflict on the calendar?
No, there's not. Just because the week prior is usually when we compile everything for the meeting, and there's quite a bit of PTO that week in between Christmas and New Year's. I have several department heads that I'm actually gone to, but I can work.
That's fine with me. Dave is
I'm available
any time of the day.
Okay.
Yep, it's fine with Dave. Mary?
I don't know, but go ahead.
Ole?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so Gen Gov next meeting will be January 10th at 9:30 a.m. Could I get a motion to adjourn? Second?
Yeah.
Aye.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Thanks all. Good work.
Thanks, Alexander.
Good stuff.